What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist here, joined with
Gershwan.
And once again, we're back at it, answering more questions in another installment of For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put a question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. And subscribe to the channel because this is a new channel. And this question comes from
Turtwig Hunter. After the end of the Horus Heresy, what do you believe will be the next huge, big Warhammer storyline?
After the end of the Horus Heresy.
So I think that's like, when you think Warhammer 40K, everybody wants to know the Horus Heresy.
Yeah.
I'd say that's the most popular storyline in all of Warhammer, even though that happened in the 30K era instead of the 40K era. Because when you think of the 40K era, like, what big storylines are there?
Well, that's what I was going to say, that it seems that you probably are someone who reads the books because the books focus on the Horus Heresy. But us playing 40K since, fifth edition. The big story that I remember was Armageddon, and then the whole concept of like, whoa, how did the Emperor become a corpse was kind of like in the background, and now that's like the focal point. So I would say that if we could break it down in a timeline, because I think you're right. There's nothing that has gotten as much attention as the Horus Heresy because the main antagonist and protagonist is human. But in 40K, I do remember Armageddon being like the big thing, which was orcs versus space marines.
Yeah, the closest thing I could think of is like the 13th Black Crusade / the resurrection of Guilliman.
That's another one.
Because again, it brought back a Primarch, which was a huge, big influence in the Horus Heresy, which was all Primarchs fighting against each other.
Yeah, what's funny too, though, is that like the 13th Black Crusade was something popular, but it was almost mocked back then because people used to call him Phaladon, not Abaddon, because he failed 13 times.
Right, until he finally crashed his Blackstone Fortress on Cadia.
Yeah.
And Cadia was such a beloved planet too, because the Cadian Guard was really popular.
Yeah.
And they even have the whole saying, the Guard, or the planet broke before the Guard did.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think you're right. Horus Heresy, and after that, it's definitely the 13th Black Crusade mixed with the return of Guilliman. I felt that they rushed Angron invading Terra for basically the second invasion.
Yeah.
They rushed through Magnus landing on the moon, and then they rushed through the Plague Wars, which were all Demon Primarchs. That's how the Demon Primarchs returned. Because I know we created a video a while back saying like 40K doesn't ever tie up any like plot lines, because they want you to keep playing in that kind of like environment. But that's not entirely true when you think of those big events like Magnus returning, Angron, and
And like when you look at things from like 30 years ago, the storyline progressed very slowly, so slowly that you'd actually die before it actually got anywhere. And nowadays, you're moving so fast. Look at where we're at now. 2 Primarchs returning, 3 Demon Primarchs returning. The Emperor might be finally dying on the Golden Throne and ascending to godhood. This is all theory back in the day, but nowadays, it's more real than it could be speculation.
And I think that's a problem with the hobby itself, because the hobby is more like slow pace. What we're trying to do is we're trying to build these armies, which means building, painting, like putting your heart and soul into these minis. And sometimes I feel that because the stories are coming out so quickly, you don't get to savor Vashtor, you don't get to savor the Lion, because I guarantee you that the standard for like wargamer keeps their armies on like the to-do list for like over a year, or maybe not, like, but I think from our play group and from our experience being in the hobby for this long, there are armies that I tried to create like 4 years ago and I'm still like going at it. But Games Workshop is pumping out these stories so quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. We kind of went off on a tangent because what was like the main point?
Like, what's going to be the next big storyline?
Oh, yeah. So yeah, I think the 13th Black Crusade, and then now the return of another Primarch, probably.
Yeah, it's got to be. But even then, I don't think that's as big as the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, no, nothing's going to be like that.
Yeah.
If we were going to, I was going to say in the beginning, if we were going to break it down on a timeline, so if Warhammer 40K had, like the big stories of Warhammer 40K were, I would say, the Golden Age of Technology, the Age of Strife, and you could throw in the the birth of the Navigators, the Men of Iron, all that kind of stuff. The Cybernetic Revolt all goes into the Age of Strife, and then you have the Great Crusade. Then you have the Unification War.
Yeah, that happened slightly before.
Then the Great Crusade. Then Horus Heresy. That's the big one. And then after that, I feel like the Great Scouring is kind of entertaining. That's when all the Primarchs kind of get lost. But not really. But like the next big thing, I think, is the Reign of Fire. The creation of the Sisters of Battle.
Yeah, with a Gouge Van Dyer.
Yeah, and then after that, I think it does jump into 40K. So I think the Age of Fire, or the Reign of Fire, whatever it's called, was 35, the 35th millennium, right?
I believe so, because there were like Space Marines, and they were doing like their own thing. But yeah.
Is there any topic that you would want Games Workshop to go back to? Any story that you guys would?
100%. The wars between the Necrons and the Old Ones and all that.
Oh yeah, what is it? The War in Heaven.
The War in Heaven.
Oh, that's another thing too. Like we focus so much on humanity, but reality is like no, there's Xenos too.
Yeah, they're not even Necrons. They were Necron tier.
Yeah. That's a good one. But let's get to other questions because that one really like got our jimmies going. Next one.
This one's by the big one. Don't you guys think that it's a real shame that Magic Johnson wasted his adult film star name on a basketball career?
Yes, definitely. He wouldn't have gotten AIDS.
No. I mean, I think he would have regardless.
No, because I think when you're a porn star, you're more conscious of who you fucked, right? Like it's a legal thing.
Yeah, you got to do constant testing and stuff like that.
Whereas if you're a basketball player, you're putting it in on whatever you can. In his situation, I was gonna say something, but I guess it's not true. Next question.
Crash R1. Which Primarch has the dumbest name? For me, it's definitely Perturabo.
I used to hate Perturabo, but it grows on you. I think Iron Warriors grow on you the more you kind of learn about them.
Yeah, definitely. For me, it was always Roboute Guilliman.
Yeah.
Robot Girly Man. It's just such a weird name. It's even spelled weird. Like there's U's and E's and I's and double L's.
Yeah, it's a stupid name. I think I would agree. Roboute Guilliman for me too. Next question comes from Rome Lazo. When was the Emperor aware of his corruption?
I don't think he's corrupted.
No, he's not corrupted.
I mean, if anything, he might be a little arrogant. He might be a little too headstrong. But I mean, these are aspects that like he knows he has, and like his Primarchs also got those attributes too. Like he's not perfect. He's not a god. He's not all-knowing. He still has his flaws. And him becoming the 5th Chaos God isn't a sign of corruption, because just because you're ascending to godhood doesn't make you evil. Right. Like if you look at the Chaos Gods, like we see them as like a detriment to humanity. You've got diseases, hatred, stuff like that, but they also embody like perfection, the need to be the best you can be. So it's not all negative.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Next question comes from Clovis Longworm. Is there a cowboy-themed Space Marine chapter? I don't think that there's a cowboy Space Marine chapter. The theme of like the Wild West. There's no like gunslingers or anything.
No,
like that.
I mean I'm trying to think of like there's no like revolvers when it comes to the Imperium.
No.
You have that one Gene Stealer cult guy that has like the bandana and the pistols and stuff,
which I think is really goofy. Games Workshop did some crazy things with the Gene Stealers because they have that, and then they have like the guerrilla war dude. So they were really having fun with the Gene Stealer cults. But as far as Space Marine chapters themed as cowboys, I don't think there's any.
Yeah, I mean you could always do a homebrew. But as of right now, there's no official one. There
is, if you check out the One Mind Syndicate fan-created chapters, there's one there. We have a playlist on the One Mind Syndicate page. I can't remember what it's called, though. But it is very, like, Western-themed. Next question.
Ed Handel. Pizza, burgers, tacos, and wings. You can only have 3 of these 4. Which one do you cut out and why for the rest of your life?
That's super easy. I would cut out pizza. Because cheese.
See, I would keep pizza in because you could do so much with it. Like different toppings, different crusts, etc.
Yeah.
I think I would take out burgers.
Burgers?
Even though that's kind of on the same, like you could have so many different types of burgers.
But not really. I think like you can have standard burgers even when we go to, because we go to a local like burger spot and they're like specialty burgers. Sometimes I feel weird calling them burgers. Like if you're replacing the patty and putting al pastor, like that's not a burger anymore. I mean it is, but it is. That's like a sloppy Joe.
There you go.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's good. I wouldn't get rid of cheeseburgers though, because I usually have cheeseburger kicks where like I constantly want cheeseburgers.
Yeah, that's the thing. But I mean, tacos and wings, those two are staying no matter what.
That's protein. Next question comes from Pelon Ramirez. What's the best power armor in 40K? Plot armor is the best armor in 40K.
If we're talking the best of the best, it's probably the like master crafted Primarch armors. Like they're all slightly different and very like ornate, but they're the best of the best. Right
now in the current state of Warhammer 40K, Guilliman has the best power armor in humanity. When it comes to the galaxy though, I would argue that like the Necrons.
Necrodermis, self-repairing armor that can like phase through stuff. It's super durable. I was going to say the Emperor's armor, but I don't think that exists anymore.
Or if it does, he's
he's not using it. But I think it got melted down and like used as like pieces of like Terminator
armor,
like those little shield things.
Yeah, isn't like a piece of that armor is within every single Terminator. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's cool. And those were the questions for today. Thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out with us. If you guys have more questions for us, let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe, and we'll talk tomorrow.
That's right. As always, it's been the Sound Alchemist here with
Gershwan.
And we are out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.